unfortunately. Became abandoned.
Oh,
I'm happy to say it was a very calm morning.
it looked it. I really didn't spend much time outside at all today.
Looks like we have a full house tonight.
That's jumping on now.
Hello, hello.
It's Patrick.
Hey,
Good evening,
Patrick.
Patrick.
Oh, I was just looking for you, Rob. Thanks. The full house tonight.
Very much so.
It's a lot to discuss.
A lot to discuss. Okay, it's 6:30 p.m. on Wednesday, May 6th, 2026. Welcome to the Board of Selectmen meeting and hearing, and I hereby call this meeting to order. Few announcements. Uh, we still have resident parking stickers available for purchase at nahant.org. Stickers purchased between March 1st and June 30th are $15. Stickers purchased July 1st through December 31st are $20. This does not mean you need to purchase two stickers. This just means the price is dependent upon when you purchase the sticker. Your census must be completed and all taxes due to the town must be paid before purchasing. Contact the parking clerk for more information. The annual 2026 town census has been mailed to residents. For more information on the census, contact the town clerk. Dog licenses were due back to the town clerk by April 1st, 2026. Any licenses submitted after April 1st will be charged a $20 late fee. Visit the scholarships page at nahant.org for a list of scholarships offered to Nahant residents and students. Metal, white goods, and TV recycling all occur on the last Saturday of each month from April 25th through October 31st from 8 a.m. to noon. Behind the DPW garage, certain fees will apply. Please visit nahant.org for more information. Curbside leaf pickup on Mondays has begun. Please visit nahant.org for a list of accepted material. Resident sticker is required. The compost area is open on Wednesdays and Saturdays from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. beginning April 4th. Visit nahant.org for a full list of accepted material. A resident sticker is required. The YMCA Stride Along the Tide 5K road race occurs on Saturday, May 9th, 2026, beginning at 8:30 a.m. at the Lowlands Park. Visit the community calendar at nahant.org for information on how to sign up for the race. And I'll add that I find this a great warm-up for the parade at the end of the month. Town Hall internship. The Town Hall is currently seeking a college-age student for a paid part-time internship at Town Hall this summer. The full job description and where to send resumes is available on nahant.org. We are accepting resumes until May 15th, 2026. And last but certainly not least, we have the annual town meeting on Saturday, May 16th, 2026, beginning at 12:30 p.m. at the Nahant Town Hall. For more information, contact the town clerk or visit the town meeting page at nahant.org. And we are going to now vote to reorganize the Board of Selectmen. And Patrick will take a motion.
I move that the Board of Selectmen vote to appoint Rob Tibbo as the chairman of the Board of Selectmen, or I should say Select Board.
There, perfect.
I second the motion.
And roll call vote.
Pat O'Reilly, aye.
Patty Karas, aye.
Outstanding. Thank you so much. This will put us back on track as far as the typical way that the select board is arranged, with the first year being is secretary and working way up to chair in the third year of one's term. I'll now move the Board of Selectmen vote to appoint Patrick O'Reilly as Vice Chair of the Board of Selectmen. Do I have a second?
I second the motion.
Roll call vote. Rob Tibble, aye.
Patty Karas, aye.
Congratulations, Patrick.
Thank you.
And I will also move the Board of Selectmen vote to appoint Patty Karas as the recording secretary of the Board of Selectmen. Do I have a second?
Seconded.
And a roll call vote. Rob Tibble, aye.
Pat O'Reilly, aye.
Congratulations to us all. May we have a productive year.
And a warm welcome to Patty.
And a
Great.
warm welcome to Patty, for sure.
Thank you.
Very, very happy that we were able to steal Patty away from her tenure at the school committee. I know there's a little bit of a scramble because those are big shoes to fill. So, but thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So let's see. Now we're going to have a public hearing regarding a National Grid petition to place a new pole on Pleasant Street. I will move the Board of Selectmen open the public hearing with National Grid. I'm sorry. Do I have a second?
Second.
No discussion. Roll call vote.
Patty Karas, aye.
Pat O'Reilly, aye.
And Rob Tibble, aye.
Sorry to interrupt. I don't know how this works. This is Sanjeev Daga. I am the resident of 40 Pleasant Street. So I just wanted to understand what responsibilities, liabilities I would have related to this, Paul. And
Okay,
what
sir, just if you could just wait a few minutes right now. We've just opened the hearing. I'm going to read the petition, and once that has been seconded, we will open the meeting for public discussion.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. I move the Board of Selectmen vote to approve the petition submitted by Massachusetts Electric Company, DBA National Grid, and Verizon New England Incorporated, requesting permission to locate poles, wires, and fixtures, including the necessary sustaining and protecting fixtures, along and across the following public way: Pleasant Street, National Grid to install one JO pole on Pleasant Street, beginning at a point approximately 21 feet west of the center line of the intersection of Pleasant Street and Spouting Horn Road, and continuing approximately 6 feet in a northwest direction. National Grid to install a 40-foot Class 3 pole in order to accommodate for a span guy and anchored guy to fix and prevent further leaning of pole number 1. That's an existing pole that I guess is leaning, so they need to add support for it. Do I have a second?
Seconded.
Okay, discussion. I'll open the meeting to the public, but let's begin with the selectmen.
Yeah, I did have one and a half questions on this. The poll in question is leaning significantly. I did notice that after this petition came in. Is there a plan, and this will be a question for National Grid and Verizon, I guess. Are they planning to also, at some point after securing the leaning pole, to replace the leaning pole, or is this just considered a permanent fix?
I see we have Bo Wang with us. If you want to turn, oh, you have your mic on. I don't know if you want to turn on your camera.
Hey, good evening. I think my camera right now is not really working, but can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep, you're very clear.
All right, good. Yeah, we plan on replacing the pole as well, just to fix the entire leaning problem. And the point of the proposed pole right now is to prevent that new pole from leaning the same way that the existing pole is leaning.
So it was determined that existing pole is leaning because it was overweight and it needs to be braced from that direction. Is that kind of my understanding?
Yes, you're correct. Right now, that existing pole is what we call a dead end pole, meaning that all the cables are on one side and all the tension is on one side. So it is being pulled only from one side. So by installing that pole and the guys, that's gonna counter all that tension from that side and prevent it from leaning and causing any unintended outages in the future.
Okay, that
Anything-
was my main
okay.
question.
Go ahead, Patrick. Are you all set?
Oh, yeah, that answers my question. Anyone else? Let's chime in.
Patty, anything, any questions?
No, that addresses my concern as well.
Okay, then we'll open it up to the floor, and anyone wishing to speak, please raise your hand. I know we had a gentleman a minute ago that was a neighbor and wanted to talk.
I think
Yeah,
Sheldon.
sorry, I couldn't figure out how to raise my hand, so I
Okay.
apologize.
Okay,
All right, so yeah, just my questions being what other alternatives are there or were considered? And then two, being the owner of that lot, what responsibilities would I have? Are there easements? I just don't know how all this works, so I'm new to this.
understood. Sir, could you please give us your full name and your address before we go further?
Yes, of course. It's Sanjeev Daga, 40 Pleasant Street.
Very good. Okay, possibly Bo, can you help us with that?
Yeah, absolutely. Sanjeev, so you're the owner of 40 Pleasant Street, correct?
Correct.
So you wouldn't have to do anything. There's no easements involved since it is pretty much being installed in what we consider the sidewalk, just a little bit past the road. So it would still be in public space, so not in your property. So we will maintain it as normally. And as for the other alternatives, we did consider other options, but they will be temporarily since, for example, let's say we consider just replacing the pole, but eventually it would still lean without any support from the other side. And there's no space on the current lot that it is in right now, 25 Pleasant Street, to put any supporting structures since the pole is almost at the road. So the only viable option was to put a pole across the road, next to your property, but not inside the property.
Okay, thank you, Bo. And would the power lines be overhead or are they buried underneath?
So we would not have any power lines with this new pole, just a steel cable just to pull the existing pole. So no new power lines with this new pole, but it would be overhead, uh, the the steel cable.
I see. Okay, and do you have to clear any trees that are on my lot to install that?
I believe it will be just a little section of where it would be installed, but we would take care of it.
So just so I understand, what take care of what, removing trees or you would
Yeah,
need
yeah. Remove the bit of vegetation that's in there right now. Probably about 4 to 6 feet from the road itself, like from the side of the road and past the side of the road. I don't know if I'm being clear enough.
Would I get a chance to review what you're going to be removing if it is on the property before you actually move forward with it?
Yeah, I mean, I could give you my contact after this and we could meet on site if you wish.
Yeah, I think that would be helpful. Okay, just to recap, so there really weren't any other alternatives. This is a pole that's just going to create a tension cable across the street to straighten out that existing pole. And that existing pole, is there a timeline on, I think you said it would be replaced, or, and if so, is there a timeline on when that existing pole would be replaced?
Yeah, it will be replaced. The timeline, it really depends on how busy our crew usually is. But I would say maybe a few months, if I had to guess.
Okay, and I'm assuming when that existing pole is replaced, there's going to be a power outage for the residents on Pleasant and around?
Yeah, those usually don't last for maybe, I think, maximum a few hours, maybe an hour.
Okay, and since this will be placed on right now what is a vacant lot, if in the future that vacant lot gets developed with approvals and all that, of course, and that kind of enters or gets in, the pole gets in the way of, say, a driveway or some other portion of the new structure, how would that be handled?
Uh, I mean, we would have to most likely just keep replacing the leaning pole if we were to remove that support pole that we were proposing right now. Just keep replacing it every now and then whenever it leans. That's the only option other than, the proposed pole.
So could you replace that existing pole instead of putting in the proposed pole?
I mean, we could, but then it'll eventually start leaning again, and the same process is gonna have to happen again. Keep replacing it over and over, uh, and that's gonna come with more outages with the replacements.
So I'm new to this, but is this up for vote or is this a done deal? And I just don't know is there a decision to be made or the decision has been made?
Uh, the decision has not been made. I'm just bringing this up to the Board of Selectmen just to get an approval, very much.
They-
And your input also is important to this, since you're an abutter pretty much. You own the lot facing that road.
Yeah, we have a petition from National Grid, and our goal tonight is to approve that petition so that National Grid can move forward. And obviously now you have had the opportunity to exchange phone numbers, and I'm sure there'll be conversations between you as the abutter and National Grid to find an area of comfort, I guess, as far as installing this new pole.
Uh, I mean, just looking at this a little bit more, I guess one concern I would have is it seems like somebody in the past has done, a great deal, put a great deal of effort to put lines underground on the street. So it seems like we, which is causing the fact that the lines come out of the ground and onto this pole and um, down Spouting Horde, and that's causing tension on one side, but we're kind of defeating the purpose of putting underground wires in the first place by putting above ground um, bracing for this pole. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying.
So, Bo, any comment as far as moving the existing wires underground here rather than go through all this?
Well, they are underground, I think is my point.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh,
there are wires that go underground and they feed somewhere else in the area. Let me see. Yeah, they go into a manhole and then they feed further down into Pleasant Street. Uh, I believe they feed either 28 or 1. I mean, sorry, 40 or 1. No,
Uh,
40 and 45.
Yeah, I thought the point Pat was trying to make was a good one in that it's opposite of my thinking though, because if I look at that leaning pole and the wires going up Spouting Horn, they're overhead and they're drooping quite a bit, and I know it's due to the leaning pole, but I do have concerns. There are a lot of trees around that block, as many of you know, and they're close to those branches, tree falls. Those wires are drooping pretty low to the street, and and I thought that's what Pat was saying is, could those be put underground?
Well, not only that, but I think, I've looked at putting wires underground, and that is fairly expensive, an undertaking to ground the wires. But that said, that's been done on Pleasant Street. So we have underground wires on Pleasant Street. So, my concern was really we're kind of undoing all the time, effort, and expense that was gone through, at least for that one little spot. There's been a lot of effort and expense at putting these cables under the power lines and communications cables underground. So if we're gonna, be putting wires across the road again, that's just kind of counterproductive.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I could bring this back to the supervisors and see if maybe we could put a fixture pretty close to the pole on the same side as the existing pole. We did consider that before, but I don't think we had enough clearance. But I'll bring that up again and see what comes out of it. Because let's say we put that fixture is a sidewalk guy. It'll be very close to the road, and a car could hit that fixture and take it out.
With that in mind, if we all agree here, then we could change the motion to postpone any further action on the petition from National Grid until they get back to us with their additional thoughts on how to handle this differently. Does that sound fair?
Sounds fair.
Sheldon also had his hand up, his real hand up, not a Zoom
Right.
hand.
Okay.
Sheldon Sevenor, I live at 4 Spouting Horn Road. You have no idea, Pat, what you brought up is the most important point said tonight. I have been losing electricity intermittently since 1989. The National Grid has been out to that pole, and those unsightly wires touching the trees that are all along Spouting Horn over and over and over again. I would definitely vote against this, and I'm going to tell you why. On multiple occasions, when we lost power, I walked from my house down the driveway to the corner of where this pole is. 10 out of 10 of the workmen have said to me each time, Dr. Sevenor, this is not appropriate. These wires have got to go underground at Spouting Horn. National Grid needs, we spend a lot of money. All of you know how much electricity costs. So they have refused to go underground, look from the corner of Pleasant Street to the end of Spouting Horn Road because they don't want to spend the money. It's as simple as that. Every single workman told me that this pole is a constant problem, will always be a constant problem. What I can't get over tonight is it sounds like the pole isn't even being replaced. It's being hooked up to another pole. And at this point, if this were a new issue and none of us had problems, this has gone on since 1989. It's time to have National Grid spend the time, the money, and the effort, because they certainly collect a lot of money from all of us in town, to put these wires underground, just like they are on Pleasant Street. This is a Band-Aid on a big problem. It can cause a fire. You know what happened at Carter Smith's house? When the fire occurred, all those overhead wires, everybody was concerned we're going to go into flames. I'll never forget it. And it's time, in my opinion, 2026 to address the problem, not with putting up a pole like a Band-Aid, but to run wires underground. It should have been done years ago, and it should be done now.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else like to speak on this? Hearing and seeing none?
For what it's worth, I agree with Sheldon. I think those wires are very unsightly and there is a fire hazard.
Okay. So back to the selectmen. Should we entertain a motion to deny this petition, or should we have a motion to postpone any further action on this petition?
But I would be in favor of postponing rather than denying. I think it still might be the best solution, but we should just have a few questions answered, I think.
Okay.
As am I, Rob.
Okay, Patty, thank you. Then let's see. I move the Board of Selectmen vote to postpone any further action on the petition submitted by the Massachusetts Electric Company, DBA National Grid, and Verizon New England regarding the installation of a pole, and we will leave it at that. Do I have a second?
Seconded.
Discussion? Roll call vote.
Patty Karasai.
Pat O'Reilly, aye.
And Rob Tibble, aye. Very good. Thank you all.
And we still need to close the hearing, is that right? Yeah.
It is, yes. So let's see, we have had the, okay. I move the Board of Selectmen close the public hearing with National Grid. Do I have a second?
Seconded.
Roll call vote.
Patty Karasai.
Pat O'Reilly, aye.
And Rob Tibble, aye. We have some new business to talk about here. Let's see, we have an employment contract for the new treasurer collector. And I'll move the Board of Selectmen vote to approve and sign the employment contract for the new treasurer collector, Catherine Sherber, with the contract term beginning May 11th, 2026 to June 30th, 2029. Do I have a second?
Second.
Oh,
Third.
Tie goes to the any discussion? Okay, I'm going to jump in one more time and just say that I'm very happy that KK has accepted this position. I know her to be a very hard worker, very diligent worker, and I think she's great for the position. And with that, we'll have a roll call vote.
Patty Karasai.
Pat O'Reilly, aye.
And Rob Tibble, aye. Congratulations, KK. We have some event requests that need approval. I'll move the Board of Selectmen vote to approve the following event requests. Men's Spring Summer Softball League from May through August on weeknights beginning at 5 p.m. at the Lowland Softball Field. Women's Spring Summer Softball League from June through August from Monday through Thursday beginning at 6:30 at the Lowland Softball Field. And the Dashing Rock Trio Music Concert at the Ellingwood Chapel on June 6, 2026, beginning at 7 p.m. Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? Okay, I'm just going to have a quick comment as far as the Dashing Rock Trio, looking at the application. The National Historical Society will be sponsoring Celebrating the Arts with a Celtic and Scandinavian Celtic, is it? Scandinavian.
Celtic.
Okay. Traditional music. Oh, Julie, go ahead. You do this. I didn't realize you were there.
I'm here. I'm very silent and my camera is very dark. So
Okay, well, tell us about this.
yes, I'm here with Katerina Rattleberger, and the Nahant Historical Society has begun hosting Celebrating the Arts. And this request for use of the Ellingwood Chapel is for just one event out of many that are planned for up to the next 3 years. It will entail community involvement and the use of as many of the historic town buildings and spaces that we can make use of. We have we have a concert coming up this Saturday at the Serenity Room. And we'll have another concert coming up in August that we want to be a town-wide concert. And we'll be putting in an application to use the town hall at that point because we think we'll have a larger crowd. But we believe, the Historical Society believes, as does Katerina, that the continued use of these historic buildings will help maintain the buildings. Because as we use them, then we tend to take care of them more often. If they are left vacant, then they tend to go into disrepair. And I know that the Ellingwood Chapel recently had some leaking in the roof. I know there's money in the CPC funds from a previous grant request to help with that. But I think if we're in there often, then we see what's happening as opposed to just once in a while. But this is a true community program of celebrating the arts, and we plan on dance. We plan on using, involving the children and the seniors in town and anybody who's interested.
Okay, thank you very much, Julie. I'm going to double check myself here. Did we need a second on that? I can't remember. All right,
I'm not
Pat,
sure either. You should probably do it
Okay.
again.
Pat, just give me a second on it, and or Patty, just give us a
Second.
second on the motion. Okay. We've
I
had,
think you did, so.
okay, I think I might have, but I look back and say, oh, I think I did it again. So roll call vote.
Patty Karas, aye.
Pat O'Reilly, aye.
And Rob Thibault, aye. We have a very long vote to approve water bond through MWRA and execute related documents, which I will be reading. Sorry. Okay. This is a vote of the Board of Selectmen. I move that I, the clerk of the Board of Selectmen of the town of Nahant, Massachusetts, the town, certify that at a meeting of the board held May 6, 2026, of which meeting all members of the board were duly notified and at which a quorum was present, the following votes were unanimously passed, all of which appear upon the official record of the board in my custody. Voted that the sale of the $1,246,000 water bond of the town dated May 18th, 2026 to the Massachusetts Water Resources Authority, the authority is hereby approved and the town treasurer or other appropriate town official is authorized to execute on behalf of the town a loan agreement and a financial assistance agreement with the authority with respect to the bond. The bond shall be payable without interest on May 15 of the years and in the principal amount as follows. Year 2027, an installment of $124,600. Year 2028, $124,600. Year 2029, $124,600. Year 2030, $124,600. Year 2031, $124,600. Year 2032, $124,600. Year 2033, $124,600. Year 2034, $124,600. Year 2035, $124,600. Year 2036, $124,600. Further voted that any certificates or documents relating to bond, collectively the documents, may be executed in several counterparts, each of which shall be regarded as an original and all of which shall constitute one and the same document. Delivery of an executed counterpart of a signature page to a document by electronic mail in a .pdf file or by other electronic transmission shall be as effective as delivery of a manually executed counterpart signature page to such document. An electronic signatures on any of the documents shall be deemed original signatures for the purposes of the documents, and all matters relating thereto having the same legal effect as original signatures. Further voted that all action taken to date by the town and its officers and agents to carry out this financing, including the execution of any application agreement by the treasurer or any other official of the town, are hereby ratified, approved, and confirmed. And further voted that each member of the Board of Selectmen, the town clerk, and the town treasurer be and hereby are authorized to take any and all such actions and execute and deliver such certificates, receipts, or other documents as may be determined by them or any of them to be necessary or convenient to carry into effect the provisions of the foregoing votes. I further certify, and the votes were taken at a meeting open to the public, that no vote was taken by a secret ballot, that a notice stating the place, date, time, and agenda for the meeting, which agenda included the adoption of the above votes, was filed with the town clerk, and a copy thereof posted in a manner conspicuously visible to the public at all hours in or on the municipal building that the office of the town clerk is located, or, if applicable, in accordance with an alternative method of notice prescribed or approved by the Attorney General as set forth in 940 CMR 29.03 2B, at least 48 hours, not including Saturdays, Sundays, and legal holidays, prior to the time of the meeting, and remained so posted at the time of the meeting, that no deliberations or decisions in connection with the sale of the bond were taken in executive session, all in accordance with General Law, Chapter 30A, subsection 18 through 25, as amended. Dated May 6, 2026, Clerk of the Board of Selectmen. I guess I'm looking for a second after that.
Very nice job reading all that, Rob, and I will second that.
Thank you. Please don't make me do it again. Yeah, second, and any discussion on this? We'll have a roll call vote.
Patty Karas, aye.
Pat O'Reilly, aye.
And Rob Tibble, aye. I haven't been looking forward to that one today.
Practicing all day.
Well, I did have to make sure that I read it slowly because I tend to get going fast.
So I did just want to remind you, if you can, stop by town hall to come in and actually sign the documents so that we can send them off to the MWRA. That would be great.
See you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Same.
Okay, so ongoing business. Let's see, we have a discussion on trash and recycling contract. And I think Allison's going to give us a few comments on that.
Yep. So it's come to my attention that our trash contract with Waste Management is up on June 30th of this year. So starting in February, I started taking a look at this, and my thought was, at the time, I didn't think that we'd have enough time to go through a full procurement process. So my thought was to talk to Waste Management, seeking maybe a 1-year extension, and then go through a procurement process. So I started talking to Waste Management in February. I recently just received proposals from them. There's 2 proposals that I have shared individually with each board member. Waste Management is proposing a much longer contract extension. And so there's 2 options on the table. One is a several-year contract extension. It would have Waste Management be on site, picking up 4 days a week. And that provides us with a lower cost year over year. It would be a 3% increase in year 1 and then a 5.5% increase in subsequent years. They would also move to automation. So in year 2, it would involve the purchase of the trash barrels by Waste Management and provided to residents to allow them to use an automated truck. I did just find out yesterday that this contract also would change the recycling schedule to an every other week schedule. That wasn't made clear to me until yesterday. So I just wanted to make that a point that that's part of this proposal. The other proposal from Waste Management is to continue a 2-day-a-week schedule, basically the same as we have now for both trash and recycling. However, the price increase is much greater than the first proposal that I spoke about. That would be a 3.5% increase in year one, and then a 7 to 8% increase year over year. I did invite Waste Management to attend this meeting tonight, and I think Ed from Waste Management is on here if the board has questions. So I just wanted to start this discussion.
Okay. Patrick, Patty, any thoughts on as far as what we're looking at right now?
Since we have Ed joining us this evening, Ed, I'd really like to entertain whether or not you would be open to a 1-year extension of our current contract.
Yes. Good evening, everyone. My name is Ed Pasek, Waste Management Director of Public Sector Solutions. And, I've been working with the town of Nahant for a while. So I think going back a few contracts, I have a little bit of a background with the town. So happy to be here tonight. Yes. So the answer is we would be open to a 1-year extension. That is something that could be done. The one thing that I would say, though, is that our costs have gone up considerably over the past term. So I'm sure we all remember going back to 2022, 23, inflation ran high. We were under contract for that time frame. And obviously, we honored our contract. We're under agreement. So I think the town continued to benefit from the rates that were in place from before that inflationary period. So now, as was mentioned, our contract's up for renewal, and we could do a 1-year extension, but we would be seeking to bring our rates up to kind of current market pricing. And so one of the reasons why that we had suggested a longer term options to the town was to save the town in the next year. So as you approach July 1st in the next fiscal year, which aligns with our next contract year, we wanted to present options to the town that we felt would be more palatable from a budget standpoint. So that was really our intention. So the two options there were to essentially keep everything the way it is now, or offer an alternative. We're trying to think of a creative way to try to save the town some money and offer really at the same time kind of an upgrade with the automated service and the trash cart. So that was kind of the thinking there. But the answer is yes, we could do the 1 year. Excuse me, but it would be significantly more expensive as we would have to take that contract to market rates.
And in regards to the option with the automated service and trash cart, my concern is the recycle every other week. For many residents, they have more recycle than they do trash. And I can easily see recycle becoming out of control if it was to be picked up every 2 weeks. So would you be willing to renegotiate that second option?
Yeah. Yes. So I think what you're asking is would we be able to present an automated option to the town with weekly recycling?
Correct.
Yes, we could present that. We would have to restructure our proposal a little bit. One of the things that enabled us to offer the lower cost with that 4-day schedule was that we would be able to service the town with a single truck over the 4 days. And currently, today, we service the town, as you know, in 2 days, but we use 2 trucks each day. So that requires us to, at a certain point during this next contract term, we will be replacing that equipment as it will age out, so to speak. And so instead of having to purchase 2 trucks, we could purchase 1 truck. So that was one of the things that we felt was attractive, and that enabled us to be able to provide the carts to the town and still offer a lower rate than continuing to do it at under the 2-day schedule. So that was our thought.
Mhm.
We could do the weekly recycling automated, provide the carts, but it would be a little bit more of an expensive option. I think we would have to go back to probably a 2-truck solution, and so we could get back to the town with a proposal, and you could see what that would look like.
And that would be greatly appreciated.
Okay.
Okay.
Pat, Rob, any other comments?
I think that seeing some additional scenarios would be helpful. The 1-year extension and the weekly recycling would be good to see.
Sure.
Yep, that really does it for me. I look forward to seeing what you can put together as far as these additional options, and yeah, I mean, hopefully we won't need the additional year. Hopefully we'll be able to move forward beforehand, but having that additional year could really help us. So yeah, I think that's yeah, we didn't have a vote scheduled for tonight. We're just kind of trying to reach out and find out what our options look like. So you've given us some good information here.
That's great. Well, we appreciate all the business that the town has given us in the partnership over the past 11 years, and look forward to continuing to work together in the future.
Thank you. We appreciate you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ed, for joining the meeting.
My pleasure.
Okay, next item. We have a vote to make Surfview Avenue a one-way, and I will make a motion. I move that the select board convert Surfview Avenue into a one-way street from Harris Street to Bass Point Road. Do I have a second?
You have a second.
Excellent. So this would have traffic enter Surfview from Harris Road at the top of the hill and proceed down to Bass Point Road, where it would exit. And any further discussion on that? We good? Pat, that's right in your neighborhood. You okay?
Well, we like to say Harris Street, but instead of road, but it's labeled twice both ways on the maps, so I can never get it straight.
Okay.
For another meeting, I think.
Which yeah, some of the signage that we need to fix.
So
Okay.
just as a reminder, this was discussed at your last meeting, but at that time we were advised that we had to notify abutters. So we went about and did that, and now we're taking it back up again at tonight's meeting. So just to provide a little extra background for people who may be joining.
Did I step in front of you on that? I'm sorry, Allison. I should
No,
have.
that's okay.
All right.
As long as there are no objections from my neighbors, then that'd be wonderful.
Okay.
Dan, we good? Dan Fiore?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, you should give the abutters a chance to say something if they want to. If not, that's fine too.
Oh,
That's why we
absolutely.
gave them notice to be here.
Yeah. Anybody wants to speak, please raise your hand, give us your name and address, and tell us what you think. Dan, you just jumped on there.
Oh, my wife, she put me on there. I really got nothing to say with no one. Everyone seems to be in agreement. I haven't had anyone, have anything that they're worried about.
Yeah, it will be
It'll
helpful.
be very helpful.
Okay, good. Thank you for that. Anyone else wanting to speak? All right. I think we have just need a roll call vote.
Patty Karas, aye.
Pat O'Reilly, aye.
And Rob Tibbo, aye. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all.
We now have a vote on initiating litigation regarding alleged violations of short-term rental zoning bylaw at 47 Little Nahant Road. And I will move that the select board pursuant to section 10 of the Town Administrator Act authorize the town administrator to initiate litigation against the owners of 47 Little Nahant Road with regard to possible violations of Nahant's short-term rental zoning and general bylaws. Do I have a second?
Seconded.
Discussion.
I
don't know.
can,
Oh, Dan can jump in if you want.
yeah, I can jump in. It's ongoing concerns with that address, and we are trying to work things out. The vote doesn't mean we're gonna file suit. It just means we're authorized to if we think we need to. That may not come to pass, but instead of having to come back to the board, we'll get the authorization now and then go forward if we need to. I can tell you that there are two folks on the line now that might have they're principals of the company that the corporation that owns 47, the address. So, Mr. Chair, if you want to give them the chance to just chime in, that's fine. If not, they can just chime in during public comment. That's up to you. But this vote would just be putting us in a position to bring suit if we have to, with the hope that we don't.
Okay. Well, let's see what we got here.
Can I ask a question to Dan
Absolutely. Yeah.
before we jump in? My understanding was there was some proposal that came in today. Is that correct? Have you had a chance to review that yet, Dan? And with that,
Yes, the basic proposal, but not what's going to be happening in detail. So that's still in the process. It just came in actually last night. So we'll sit down. Rob, Alice, and I will sit down and look at that and work with the attorney for the homeowner, and then see if we can't come up with a resolution that avoids litigation.
okay, thank you.
Okay.
So yeah, so the point is I can't really opine as to the validity of the proposal because it's still very, very big picture.
Yeah, I just was wondering if we had headed this one off at the pass yet, but sounds like progress, but not there yet.
That
Oh
door
no,
is,
that's absolutely true.
that door is still open. We're not, as Dan said, we're not taking this to suit, but we're getting the option to do so if we need to.
So, Mr. Chair, I see a bunch of hands up. I think you should take the vote now and let these folks speak in public comment if they still want to, because I think this can get into a big discussion when it doesn't have to at this point.
Okay, we'll take your advice then, and we'll move the discussion from anyone who wants to speak on this back to the public comment section. So roll call vote regarding the motion to initiate litigation.
Pat O'Reilly, aye.
Patty Karas, aye.
Rob Thibault, aye. And we'll move on to the next item, and we'll revisit this again towards the end. So we do have another discussion here for short-term rentals, Allison.
Yeah, so as you're aware, town meeting passed several years ago the article that short-term rentals in residential areas are supposed to be owner occupied, and there's a local licensing application that the owners must go through. Currently, I just sent you a list. We have 3 locally licensed short-term rentals. And there's a concern that we know of many other short-term rentals operating in town. So I just wanted to have the discussion, of, how the board would like to proceed. I don't know if Dan can weigh in on this. There's been discussion, with the building department on how we should proceed with, continuing the local licensing and enforcing it, I guess.
It's a great question, and Dan, I'm just to start this off. My curiosity here is there anything actionable when an operator is advertising and taking reservations for their short-term rental unit?
Advertising reservation is not actionable, but once we have confirmation that they are actually renting without being registered, then that becomes a situation where we can start taking action. Yes.
Okay. Okay.
So, to answer further, we knew enforcement would be an issue when we started drafting these bylaws and when you were on the committee, Mr. Chair. And we knew also we'd have to rely on the citizens to say, hey, listen, something's happening next door. They might file a request for enforcement or make a phone call to town hall, because that's not really a zoning issue. But so we rely on that as well. And that has netted us a lot of information in the past year and a half, I'd say, regarding these issues. So we'd have to sort of lean on that as well, because we're not going to send folks around town from town hall knocking on doors. That's just not practical. So it really relies on the neighbor saying, hey, can you just check this out? And that's fine.
Well, we
And-
do.
and- Go ahead, Pat.
Oh, sorry. I did have a hand in crafting the short-term bylaw. We do have the state registry. I've been looking at this a little bit in the last week or so. I was trying to get I think it was 56 is the number of short-term rentals registered with the state in Nahant. And then I looked on Airbnb and VRBO, and it looked like there were 16 actively advertising for this summer. Like you said, it's, advertising may not be actionable, but rentals are. In addition to that, we're owed 6% of those fees back from the Department of Revenue as a local option that we've adopted. So I'm just wondering, can we work with the DOR and get that list and, just make sure that we're bringing people into compliance? I know we're only a year plus into this law being enacted, but, what are our options here for being proactive?
Yes, we can. The town clerk has had some success in getting detailed information from the state in the past. I believe she can follow that same avenue going forward. And to get more information as to what exactly is happening, because just because they're registered with the state doesn't mean they're actually renting. It just means they can if they want to.
No, we looked at that, as you may recall, Dan, because I think when we were meeting on it several years ago, it was up in the 40s somewhere. And our immediate conclusion on that was that there were people that would register with the state. There was nothing to registering with the state as far as their intent to have one, or maybe they did have one for a brief period of time, but there didn't seem to be a mechanism for the state to take those listings back off if it was no longer operating. So I think a lot of these are probably just things that were posted and then didn't go anywhere.
Yeah, but at least 16 are actively advertising for the summer. So we're definitely short of that with
Oh,
ours.
absolutely. Yeah. I think I spent 15 minutes on VRBO and came up with a half dozen of them. They're not hard to find.
But we can always just reach out to these folks, through a letter saying, hey, here's your advertisement. You're not registered. Show cause as to why we shouldn't issue some sort of cease and desist or something along those lines.
So I thought we have done that. Is that not the case? So I spoke to the building department. I thought originally we had done that. And I don't think we received a lot of response. Maybe, I don't know how the letter was worded, that this was before my time as town administrator, but I don't know if we send another letter, if we, have the listing, something that's more strongly worded, and I wouldn't know how to, what that should look like.
I think that really needs to be done. It's something that we should follow up on a yearly basis. Yes, that would be my recommendation. Patrick or Patty, your thoughts?
Absolutely. We have to be fair, right? So if we're going to take action against an individual, we really need to take an action against all individuals that are in violation.
Excellent point. Okay, then that's what we'll do. Allison, anything else as far as the short-term rentals?
No, I mean, this has been going on for a while now. Obviously, some have come, to light more quickly, but I do think that, we need to proceed with doing something.
Yeah, and speaking to fairness, I mean, we have people who have signed up and gone through all the paperwork and inspections and all those other things, and they should not be the only ones that have to do that. You know, we need to go back after these other folks. So I like this.
And Mr. Chair, we could keep in mind that, the fire department needs to know if there's a short-term rental in a building, because if they're responding to a fire, how many souls are in that building? It's not just one or two, it could be three or four, and it's very important to have this information.
Yeah, hugely
Yeah,
important.
and contact information for the manager of the property. Yeah, there's all sorts of reasons to have it. And we, we when we were putting together on the planning board these regulations and commenting on them, and put a lot of thought into the details, and it does mirror other communities. There's really nothing. This is boilerplate. This is very much mirroring a lot of other communities, what they're doing. The fact that we're a little bit smaller. Other communities have problems with enforcement also. That's not unique to us either. But our requirements are really no more onerous, as far as I am aware, than many other communities in the area.
Okay. Allison, you have what you need here?
Yep. I think that was a good discussion. Thank you.
Excellent. And that brings us to a discussion on parking.
So I guess I can start off on this. I decided to put this on the agenda. I think it occurred after the select board's last meeting, where a number of tickets were issued throughout town, enforcing signage and people, not parking according to the signage across town. And that drew a lot of questions, that came in, to town hall directly. Obviously, there was things on social media as well, but I thought that the board should probably discuss this in a public session, just in regards to, the parking signage in town. I know Rob and I met with the fire chief, with the DPW superintendent, and with Lieutenant Schultz last week to talk about some of the inconsistency in signage throughout town. And that's something that we're, taking a deeper look at. We think that, some signs are been historically around for a long time and might not make sense anymore. So I've asked each department to take a look at that, note it, and then we're going to reconvene in a few weeks, to take a look at that conflicting signage. But also, through this process, it's the resident parking sticker has come up. And whether, there's signs in town that say permit parking only, does that mean you have to have a resident sticker? What's the permit? Resident parking only, does that mean you have to have the resident sticker, or is the resident sticker just for parking at the beach parking lots only? We don't have a written parking policy in place. We merely have a written kind of summarization on the website that we refer to. So a bunch of these things have come up over the past few weeks that I just thought the board might want to discuss and clarify.
Okay. Well, just to share my immediate thoughts on this, we have quite a few signs that say parking by permit only, and we don't issue parking permits for residential areas. We do issue parking permits for the wharf and for the beaches. I'm hoping that we'll be replacing a lot of those signs with resident parking only. The police department doesn't need the sticker to establish resident. They can just run the plate. And that's what we learned through a conversation with Lieutenant Schultz. Obviously, it's handy for them as far as being able to just look at the windshield and see a current sticker on there. That's nice to have, but they don't have to have that. These are just the tip of the iceberg. We talked about how it's hard to measure when you see a sign that says no parking either side. on, say, the top of Ocean Street. Well, does that apply all the way down to Ocean Street to the intersection of Willow Road? These are things that we got to try to figure out. So there's a lot to talk about here, and I know that our department heads are going to be able to put together a list of questions, and we're going to be able to address it. A lot of these ourselves, and in other cases, we're going to bring in abutters, people who live on the streets, to share their thoughts on what we need to do and what not to do. Pat or Patty?
I think it's real. Oh, I'm sorry, Pat.
Go ahead, Patty.
I think it's really important that we implement a parking policy. There's a lot of confusion out there, and I think it would be very beneficial to have everything in writing.
I agree. Patrick?
Yeah, absolutely agree. I think if we can do some sort of, overall policy, make sure we get that in writing sooner rather than later, so we can clarify it for the busy summer parking season. I think that would be good, and then tackle these street by street questions and sign by sign questions. As we are able, and as the residents request and demand in some cases. There was one question about something you said, Rob, about the being able to do the plate lookup. I think there was a question, Allison, on leased vehicles, whether the police could easily look up the registration. I don't know if that's been answered yet.
No.
It may be the whole reason that the police started relying on the stickers, more often than not.
Yeah, so that is one difficulty. And I know Chief Furlong's on here, so if he's listening right now, he might want to weigh in. But one thing that was brought to me by the parking clerk was if a car is leased and the police were to run the plate, it just comes up as the leasing agent. It doesn't show the resident information. So for leased cars, finding out whether it's truly a resident is difficult by just running the plate. So that's why, in a lot of instances, those individuals do go ahead and purchase the resident sticker. And when they do, it's automated now. When they do it in the system, it does automatically reject because it's not showing that they're paying, they're residing in Nahant. So they have to individually follow up with the parking clerk to get those approved.
That, and we also know that those stickers are not available from January 1st through some point in March when we actually have them come into the building. So there's going to be that exposure just for a couple of months that we don't even have a sticker to give them. And maybe we should put this down as something that we need to consider a resident sticker for leased vehicles, just as a way to get around that. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. But it seems like we need to tailor something to get at this particular issue.
Yeah, we may end up coming full circle to the needing the sticker in some cases, or maybe not. I don't know if the chief's on. If he probably tuned out when you read the water meter bond.
I think he read the borrowing vote. He was done.
No, I'm
no,
here.
wait, he's unmuting.
There he is.
Yes. I'm in between softball and baseball right now, so I pardon the lack of camera, but just having a policy for us to enforce would greatly enhance our efforts. As far as Mr. O'Reilly, I forget the question of whether or not we could run a plate. To answer that question, yes, we can run plates. There is certain parts of town that have poor connectivity to our laptops. That's something I'm working on my end, but the capability to run a plate to check to see if somebody is a resident. And yes, I did make my wife buckle up. Yes, the capability is there. And the question with the lease vehicles, that's another caveat to everything. So I think just having just a resident sticker, period, regardless of it being a beach sticker or whatnot. I think just a resident sticker might alleviate all this problems, but that's a conversation we can have when creating the policy.
Okay, good thoughts. We have what we need, Allison.
Yep, somewhere to start. So.
Okay. And now it brings us to your report.
So I won't take much time. Obviously, I'm just very focused on town meeting, which is happening next Saturday, May 16th, 12:30 at Town Hall. I encourage all residents to attend. There's a lot of items to go over. The report from the Advisory and Finance Committee was put in the mail on Monday. I've heard that residents have started receiving those yesterday and today. I highly encourage everybody to look through that. It includes every article that will be discussed at town meeting, along with the Finance Committee's recommendations, as well as any supporting statements from me. There's supporting statements from the DPW superintendent in there, from the superintendent of schools, from the fire chief. There's a lot of discussion. We have an operating override on the table that an operating override hasn't been presented to the town since 2020. So there's been a lot of discussion about that. And then I'm doing 2 Zoom sessions, information sessions to prepare for town meeting. One's tomorrow night at 7 o'clock, and then I'm having another one next Tuesday at 7 o'clock. I encourage residents, as you're digging through your finance committee report, if any questions come up, you can feel free to reach out to me, come on the Zoom, find out more information, reach out to me directly. I'd like to answer all questions that individuals have prior to town meeting. So a lot of work has gone into this town meeting by the select board, by the Advisory and Finance Committee. The planning board did a lot of work for an article on there to change a bylaw for wireless telecommunications. So there's been a lot of work done to prepare for this town meeting. And I do think it's really important for, everybody to educate themselves and come out and vote. So that's really what I'm focused on. We have a week and a half to go. We're almost there. And depending upon, how the vote turns out at town meeting, it could mean that we have a special election in June if town meeting votes to put the overrides onto a ballot. So, I encourage everybody to come out, and town meeting is important this year. It is every year, but particularly important this year. So that's really all I wanted to touch base on for tonight's meeting.
Okay. Well, thank you, Allison. That brings us to citizens' comment, and we will invite your questions. We will invite your comments, and we will try to respond to your questions as best we can, but we will not debate. I see we already have some hands up. Please, as we recognize you, give us your name and address, and tell us what you have to say. It looks like we have George Mahovan at the top there, Allison.
Yes.
All right, let's start with George.
Yeah, hello. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, George Mahovan, 64 Lennox Road, Nahant, Mass. I am so confused about these short-term rental laws. I was under the impression that the town voted that there would be no non-owner occupied short-term rentals in any residential areas in town. 47 Little Nahant Road has been operating an illegal short-term rental for over a year and a half. You people say, oh, you're not going to go around knocking on doors to check. You want the residents to check. Well, you have a resident right next door that's been checking and complaining almost every day. The building inspector shut the guy down, didn't shut down. The zoning board of appeals shut him down because it's illegal. He didn't stop renting. I went by there today. There's a SUV in there blocking the sidewalk of the front of the car because the driveway isn't long enough to handle these big cars. or trucks. Illinois plates on it. So obviously the guy is still renting it out. Why aren't you finding him? The planning board, the zoning board said stop. The building inspector said to stop. You talk about we need to get things straight as far as having it inspected and this and that. All that is in the short-term rental rules. You guys have already discussed that about having the fire department come, the electrical inspector come, this, that, and this and that. And you're going to allow someone that doesn't even live in this town that has an LLC as an ownership. Even his lawyer said that they're arguing. We're going to say, well, there's an LLC there. No one's there. And as far as I'm concerned, we dropped the ball, meaning the short-term rental committee, when they said 6 months or less or more is the cutoff, which I think is absolutely absurd. When I proposed this motion and changed the bylaw, I made a bylaw that we didn't want any of these non-owner or occupied short-term rentals in residential areas. That meant for 365 days a year. I was very, very disappointed when I heard how you people have changed the laws. And now at the last moment, this guy who's been told to shut down a month ago, you have a last minute deal. Has he been fined for the times that he hasn't supposedly been shut down? I don't get this. You say you got to look at other towns, you got to look at this, look at that. Who cares what other towns do? It's a law in our town. And as the new, select woman said that, and I was amazed to hear all these other ones that are being operated by an LLC. To me, that's a business, even flat out business. And she said that she's going to hold everybody accountable instead of going after just one person. Again, I'll say you want the town people to police this, which I think is absolutely absurd. And then when they do police it, you give the owner all this open space to try to work his way around this. Could you please explain to me how in the world you're not saying, okay, he needs to be fined $1,000 a day? Because I researched this. People just don't care about the fines if you're doing $300 a day, $400 a day, because they're making $1,000 a day at those places. So they just write off the freaking fines. So you need to put more bite into the law. And I think it's absolutely absurd that you people are kicking the can down the road. And please explain to me what is going on down there.
Can I respond?
Anybody can respond. I was,
Well, this is the board's meeting.
Yeah, I know that. So everybody's dumbfounded. It's like, wow, come on, you people know what's going on in this town. It's a small town. You know,
right,
there's 15
George,
of these places being. I'm sorry.
George,
I'll try to calm down. I'll try to calm down. But this is absolutely astounding. Astounding.
So last week we issued a letter to 47 Little Nahant Road with fines involved. So directly to your point, we have done that, and the board just voted tonight to
do nothing.
No, to initiate litigation against 47 Little Nahant Road.
They just approved the fact that we could use litigation if we need to be. Why not? We have litigation and have our attorney say, okay, we're going after these people instead of trying to work with them to figure this out. The neighbors over there are absolutely appalled, and this opens the door for everybody. You let the cat out of the bag, the horse out of the barn, and once it's out, there's no way you're ever going to get it back. So I wish you people would start doing something about this and put some bite into the law.
Right.
And I believe that we're doing that.
Well, I don't. I'm sorry, I don't. This law was passed over 2 years ago, and it took a state almost a year to get it passed because they went over with a fine-tooth comb. And it was passed. It was passed unanimously by the town folks. And you people seem to be sitting on your hands and trying to get the residents to police this. That's not right.
Okay, George, you've made your point.
All right, thank you.
We appreciate
I'm all set.
We appreciate your comments.
Yep, I'm sorry I'm so wild and crazy, but this is a big thing to me.
I understand.
And I'm doing it for the townspeople, not just for myself. I love this town dearly, and I think that the selectmen have fallen behind on this big time.
All right, George, you and I have talked about this over the last couple of years several times, and I want to tell you that it's of a great interest to me to make sure that everything is done the way that the town expects it to be done.
Well, again, I don't understand why you're not buying this guy or shutting it down.
We're working within the law. Then the law slows everything down, George. So we are working on it, but I thank you for your comments. Let's move to, I think we have an A. Chandra that.
Yes,
next
yes,
one.
sir. Thank you so much. I'm Dr. Chandra. I am the owner, one of the owners of 47 Little Nahant. So I want you to get the whole background and the whole story.
Okay.
And so you can put everything into context about what's going on. Both me, my wife, our daughter, my daughter's at Harvard. She's at Brigham's. We are physicians. We really took to Nahant. We thought it's going to be our retirement, and it's going to be. That's the reason we bought this house. And it's not, we are not commercial STR operators. I don't have any short-term rentals anywhere in the country. I'm a physician, and I worked for 30 plus years. And I trained at Beth Israel, and then we came to Tennessee, and both our daughters are in the Northeast. And the reason we just had to do this, just at the time when we were first buying the house, the previous owner said, I said, we're going to be selling the practice. We have one buyer. We're not sure whether it's going to go through. What are we going to do in the interim? I said, Anjali can stay here, but it's a little bit of a commute. So he said, oh, I lived in this town, and I had another house, yet I was short-term renting this, and he had this book there. So I said, oh, is that a possibility? He said, yes. So, that didn't even cross our mind. So we bought it for 6 months. We were wondering, okay, we're going to sell this practice. They didn't go through. And then we had another offer that didn't go through. That was, later part of the year. And I'm not going to sit here. And we even came there. We went, me and my wife, we really liked everybody at the town hall. They were so friendly. Ed Locke, Sheila, we spoke so many times, Diane, and, Jennifer. She was so helpful. So we then said, okay, we can do this short term, and we'll try and stay there as much as we can. And but we went through all what the laws are. So what this gentleman's saying, maybe you need to look at, changing the law. And what, Miss Patty said, you can't be doing selective enforcement. And we looked at it. We registered with Massachusetts. We had the fire inspector. He said, oh, you need to have these newer the carbon monoxide detectors. We had the health inspector. We did everything by the book. And, and then, this came up, and I'm not going to risk my license and liability. I mean, we have so much more to lose if something wishy-washy is going on, or if somebody falls. I mean, we could lose our life's earnings. So of course, it's a big mortgage. And we have another mortgage here in Tennessee. We can't sell this house till we, so I take exception to the whole tone and the demeanor, but everybody's been nice, but we're not out there to create any waves. There's been not one party. We don't allow any smoking. Steve's here. He's also principal in the LLC. He's a local person. He grew up here. His high school, not in Nahant, but close by. And, now that we know what we have to do, he's immediately going in there starting the 13th. So anybody who was listed in the guest, they have to have a 5-star rating. Steve looks at it and sees. I didn't realize for the life of me that Nahant's so popular that people were just booking left, right, and center, not even, So now that we know what you want us to do exactly by the letter of the law and what it's in your, in your STR regulations, that yes, it has to be so much because it's 50% or more. So either the board decides, okay, we're going to change it, but right now till that happens, we can't just be, or you shouldn't be selectively enforcing against some people. And it seems there's a lot of people there who didn't even follow all the guidelines. So so we are vested there. We want to be part of the community. It's going to take time. We just can't. But at the same time, we have a huge mortgage to pay. So we, don't want to just go belly up. And our daughter has already, she was offered a Harvard tutorship. So she had a small place, which she didn't have to, but it was preferred that she live in Mather House. So she did, but now she's finishing up, and she is going to be coming here, come end of June. And Steve is also moving in, so they'll be alternating. And you'll see, because now this is out there, and we, you know us, you put a face to a name. Steve's going to be speaking next and explaining what the plan is. So, so if we are going by the way it's listed, and the way, we interpreted it, then we should be given the benefit of the doubt. And, and if you choose to pursue, go further, then the first question comes up is, there are all these others which are not even, they didn't even go through the proper channels. So, and to correct that, this is not an illegal STR. We have permit for it. It's posted there and it's registered with the state of Massachusetts also. And we are paying all the taxes and everything. So, I'm glad you gave me an opportunity to speak. My, wife couldn't be here because she has to take care of her mom. But, so just to tell you my side of the story, and, we went to the senior citizen, we met with the people there. We said, my wife's a geriatrician. We can, once we retire, we can volunteer our time. We can help you all. So, and, gladly do that for just to help the community. So I'm not there to create waves and cause all this conflict. I don't have the time, our lives are too busy. But at the same time, one just, this degree of animosity is just, wow. I wasn't anticipating it. And it's not really from the town hall folks. They've all been so dear and so nice. And that's what, endears us to the town. And some of the neighbors have also been, nice. So, but I'll just turn it over to Steve and he can also fill you in.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Chandra. I think you pointed to the word interpretation at one point as far as what our bylaw says, and I think that's the nexus of the issue, interpretation.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
And I will share with you that it was the intent to have a owner in the building while these units were being rented, while they were being rented, not, so anyway, we'll leave it at that, and thank you for your thoughts. We have Stephen Kenny next to speak.
Yes, and I am a principal of the LLC here as well, and I am local. I'm only a few towns away, and yeah, I mean, we, like Dr. Chandra said, we've done everything right by the rules. We registered correctly. We went to the town. We had multiple inspectors in there. His daughter is living there full time, and I'll also be in there as well because that's what it states that we could do if we have a full-time member owner in there, then we're abiding by the rules. I mean, we have guests from mostly that are getting married and there's nowhere to stay in town. So, it's been great. And George said a year and a half. Well, that's wrong. We actually didn't start till September, so it's been less than a year. And there hasn't been one incident at all. I mean, it's basically been winter. There hasn't even been people outside. And we feel that we're bringing tourists and people to the wedding venue and abiding by the rules completely. I mean, we looked at Nahant rules and this is what needs to be done, and that's exactly what we did. So and we want to continue to abide by the rules and do it the right way.
Okay, Steve. Well, thank you so much.
welcome.
We'll move on to Mr. Schultz now. Joseph Schultz.
Thanks, Mr. Tebow. My name is Joseph Schultz. I live at 405 Little Nahant Road. Very aware of everything that has gone on there since day one. I don't know where to start. Such energy from George. Appreciate that. I will contain myself. Maybe differently, but I appreciate that. Look, not playing by the rules. The rules are very simple. Rob, you said there needs to be somebody in the house while there are guests there. That has never been the case, not once. These parties, as far as I know, Steve's a new principal since March 31st because there were only 3 principals on March 31st zoning board. But nobody's established 183 days, which is half a year, right? Living here prior to applying for the short-term rental. They had owned it that time, but it hadn't. So I don't know how that's playing by the rules. A decision was made on December 19th from the building inspector to cease and desist. No cease and desist. Zoning board, all kinds of discussions, and I'll get to the transparency comment on that in a second, if I may, but there was a zoning board appeal on March 31st, unanimous vote. Mr. Tebow, you were there and spoke that this was to cease and desist. The appeal was denied. It was recorded with the clerk on April 15th. So since the zoning board meeting, this property has been rented continuously without break for 34 days straight. And 22 of those have been since the zoning board decision was recorded with the town clerk. Yes, I understand there have been some fines. I expect that I agree with George. There should be continued fines for every single day until this is remedied. And $300 isn't enough for $1,000 a night deterrent. I'd make $700 instead of losing $100. A comment was made about don't want to lose money on a very expensive mortgage, all this kind of stuff. That's a risk we all take when we buy a property, right? So I feel for that, but that's not the town's responsibility, right? We have laws, we need to uphold them. To that effect, there's one solution here, right? And so there was a discussion when we were pushed to the end of the meeting here and not allowed to discuss prior to the vote, that we would have potential litigation, and that there was some discussion. There's been a lot of discussion behind the scenes, and I have to say the residents as a whole are, many of us, frustrated that there's discussion going on behind the scenes and delay and delay and delay. There's one solution: stop renting. We're given a cease and desist. Please stop. I mean, that's that simple. And then if somebody lives continuously for 6 months, reapply. I think that's the intent. Rob, you know the intent. But I think that's what I understood. And I would ask for transparency of these discussions with the town attorney and the council and things like this, or the selectmen, because it's completely frustrating to all of us. And George, obviously shares the same frustration as well as others, that there continues to be an operation here because there's whatever discussion in the background or whatever. I also don't get it. It's decisions were made, and it's wanton disregard for the town and the laws of the town. If you want to come live here, then please respect that and respect the residents, and we all do. So, so many more things to say, but what I will say is I'm afraid that we're establishing a precedent here and documenting a precedent of having laws, but not enforcing them, which doesn't really bode well for all kinds of things around town, not just these laws, right? So I would ask that we do indeed cease this, and having Stephen stay at the house in between rentals. He's never going to have to move in there because they are booked all the way through November with a few days blank that I'm sure will fill up. And the daughter has not been here all year long at all. So I don't know how that's a solution at all to continue renting. Thank you for hearing me out.
Okay, thank you, sir. And let's see, we have Mr. Paddock next.
Actually, it's Vi.
Oh, okay, Vi, hello.
We just got two pictures stuck on our thing and I can't seem to fix it.
Okay.
Much lighter vein. First, a thank you. I want to thank the police for enforcing the speed limit. It's just made such a difference. We have a speed limit. It's being enforced all the time. I see the results in the newspaper, and I just think this is the way it should be. Having people tearing through the town is just not right. Secondly, when they rebuilt the Wharf and Willow Road bus stop and crosswalk. They took away the Wharf Street sign, and it hasn't been reinstalled. So it'd be nice to have that back. Another tiny detail. When you're discussing the parking policy, could you consider no parking this side sign? Because if you park on both sides in front of my house, no fire truck can get through. So that would be another topic to look at. And finally, on a much lighter side, I was thinking how nice it would be if we had a bench to sit on next to the post office, next to the convenience store, or next to town hall, so people can just sit and chat. We have benches all over the place where nobody sits, but people might sit there on the sidewalk, sort of like small town. That's it.
I think it's worth a try. Thank you, Vi. Okay, I see Dr. Chandra and Mr. Kenny both have their hands up again. It is not our intent to have a debate in this meeting. We have your comments, and I think we've heard enough for now. So let's see. Yeah, I think we're going to call it done. So with that, I'm going to make a motion to adjourn to executive session. I move the Board of Selectmen vote to adjourn to executive session pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, subsection 21A3, to discuss litigation strategy regarding Norbert versus Town of Nahant et al., pending in the United States District Court for the Eastern District of Massachusetts. If the chair declares that an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the negotiating position of the public body, and I, the chair, do declare that an open meeting will have a detrimental effect on the negotiating position of the public body, and we will not return to open meeting. May I have a second?
Second.
Roll call vote.
Patty Karas, aye.
Pat O'Reilly, aye.
Bob Thibault, aye. Motion carries. Thank you, everyone. We'll move to executive session now.
So Allison, we have Joe Mangiardo and Joe Raymond as part of our executive session.
We're not all the way over here yet. I think we still have a couple of people on board. Your mic is off, Allison?
Thanks. We'll wait for everyone to get off.
Say if the chief wants to stay, that's fine.
No, I think the chief is going to stay, but everybody else, I'm just gonna scoot them off.
Give him a nudge.
Okay. And let me just stop the recording too and stop the live stream.